Welcome to Odds.com's continuing coverage of the MLB playoffs. Here with my man Nolly. Nolly, the Rays have punched their ticket into the World Series. I backed the Astros and the team total over. So 0-2 there. I did have the first five under 4.5 in Braves Dodgers game 6. We'll get to that. But let's start with Rays Astros. What did you think of Game 7, and what do you think of the Rays' chances to win it all?
Man, I thought it was a great performance by Charlie Morton. Come in, had an outstanding performance to come in and go deep for Tampa Bay, and who else but who else but Arosarena to continue his hot streak. Come out, hit that 2-run bomb early, get him out to that lead, and got Charlie really going. And on the other side for Houston, really weren't able to get the clutch at bats. Utah Correa still doing his thing, got those 2 RBIs. He still was clutch, trying to do all he can and try to get him going. But ultimately, Tampa Bay's bullpen and their pitching was just too much in this game, and they were able to win out in a 4-2 game. More so typical of what you see out of Tampa Bay. That's how they've been able to win, and that's a scary team going into the World Series, especially with the one extra day of rest for their starter.
They're a dangerous team moving forward. Altuve, mental mistakes in the field and on the base paths, not in Game 6, but in the series, and Bregman, a no-show in the series. And the Rays earned it. The Rays earned it. The Rays are in the World Series. Now let's talk Game 7, Braves-Dodgers, tied at 3 going into – we get Game 7s in the ALCS and the NLCS. It's a very fortunate position for us baseball fans. And Game 6 was a beauty. We hit our first 5 under 4.5. Walker Buehler was an ace. He was exceptional. He has big – I hope to watch him in more big games throughout his career because he just – seeing the emotion coming off the mound, loading the bases with none out and throwing 100, it was as exciting as baseball gets. And I thought Max Fried showed a lot of poise handling the 3 runs off the top. I was impressed with Max Fried. I've been impressed with both teams in this series, and now we have a Game 7. Tell me your thoughts on Game 6.
That for me, I mean, ultimately, of course, I'm real happy about it, right? Dodgers were able to handle business and came out real aggressive early. That was kind of like a change of strategy that I seen for the Dodgers. We're trying to get ahead of those spinning pitches, whether it be curveball or change up, and they were able to do that. Fried, he's had some issues in the first inning. When you look at his first inning totals in 2020, a little different to his overall numbers. You know, he had a 4.91 ERA with a 1.45 WHIP in the first inning. Seems to be his kryptonite, and the Dodgers took advantage of that. That was quite different to a 2.25 ERA and the 1.09 WHIP that he had for the season. And then after that, he was able to settle in and give the Atlanta Braves some much-needed innings. You know, whether or not he was able to help them win today, I mean, he still helps them and gives them a better chance to win tomorrow. And that was very important. You know, you see him climb all the way into the 7th inning, go 6 2/3, and was able to settle in nicely. You know, hats off to him. He was able to save the bullpen. They saved a lot of their big guys. And you hear their manager. He's talking about all hands on deck. And on the other side, you see over here, Walker Buehler, he was lights out. Didn't see a 3-ball count, not once the entire night. Was able to get through that tough jam. 2 jams back to back, really, and that base is loaded with predominantly fastballs. He used 1 slider to get the ground ball at the end, but he looked lights out. He was really calm, really poised. He talked about Austin Barnes really guiding him throughout the game. So both starters, hats off to them. Like you said, we were able to cash that first 5. I was happy it went to the 4.5. And it's going to be a tough battle here. I'm excited. This is what we all want. That's what we all live for. Game 7. Whether you're playing, whether you're watching, whether you're betting, it's always fun to be a part of a Game 7.
The Universal Language Game 7, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Series tied at 3. Globe Life Field, Arlington, 82 Fahrenheit. Warmed up again in Texas. Clear, 8 miles per hour sideways in. We know who the Braves starter is, Ian Anderson. We don't know who the Dodgers starter is. We have a market. About 10 books have come out and given us a market. We're sitting at the Dodgers at about minus 140, the Braves at plus 120, this total at 8. This total is juiced to the under. We'll break down what our expectations of what Roberts will do with the Dodgers second. First, Nolly, let's talk Ian Anderson. 3-2, 1.95 ERA, 1.08 whip, 32 and a third, 41 Ks, 14 walks in the regular season. In the playoffs, 2-0, a 0 ERA, 0.89 whip, 15 and 2/3, 22 Ks, 8 walks. He started game 2 of this series up against Tony Gonsolin, who will toe the rubber at some point tomorrow, is expected to toe the rubber at some point tomorrow. I wouldn't start Tony personally, but we'll get into the Dodgers side of things. He went up against Gonsolin Anderson in game 2. Anderson, 4 innings, 1 hit, 5 walks, 5 Ks, threw 85 pitches. And he seemed tentative, and it's hard not to be against a hard-hitting Dodgers lineup. I've been impressed with Ian Anderson all year, and I think he can improve off his start. It's not a situation where I think the Dodgers have seen him once, they're going to get to him. I think he's capable of more, and I think, again, he was tentative. Tell me what you think of Ian Anderson in this enormous spot he's in tomorrow.
I mean, there's a lot of great things to say about this guy. I mean, just 22 years old, been able to be lights out, completely lights out, 5 and 2/3, 0 earned runs in the postseason, and that's just something not typical when you see these young pitchers in the postseason. He seemed to be extremely poised on the mound, has shown extreme confidence out there, and I mean, hard to expect anything else. One thing I did see, like you said, the 5 walks last game, the Dodgers seemed to try to show a lot of patience early on, and I'm not sure if that's their attack now. I've seen them a lot swinging a lot more on the first pitch, specifically on as soon as they've seen off speed, they seem to try to attack and try to change their approach to try to attack what the Braves have been successful with. You know, it is a chess match out there, and the Dodgers are trying to change things up. So I'm curious to see how attacking the ball early will affect Ian Anderson. But you look at his numbers throughout the entire season, you look at his advanced numbers, they will all indicate that the guy is for real. You look at his barrel percentage, one of the top in the major leagues. You know, not a lot of guys above him. Guys are really not squaring the ball up. They're not hitting the ball hard. A lot of indicators that say that his numbers are for real. And I like great pitchers. I like what he's done. I don't like that he's going against the Dodgers here. But, I mean, I'm not stepping in front of the train to try to say that he's going to get lit up. More often than not, he's going to succeed. He hasn't faced a lot of teams multiple times. He has faced the Marlins multiple times, and he's able to shut them down each and every time. So nothing indicates that the guy will get lit up. I expect a good start from him. His manager does. His manager talks about his poise as well, that everything he's seen out of him and everything, all indications mean that will show that he'll have a good start, at least poised to have a good one.
And our friend Lowbagger Dean Williams, who's OG Lowbagger, been with us since we started, he caught for all growing up. So he said he's caught 100 games. He's caught for Ian Anderson, and he just spoke highly about his character and the kind of guy he was, kind of teammate he was. So we've heard just nothing but good things about Ian Anderson. Let's talk about who's available. We know Tyler Matzek will be used. There's going to be a Matzek Mookie Betts square off in an important part of the game. They have a Darren O'Day ready to go, Mark Melanson ready, and Will Smith, Shane Green, Chris Martin all ready to rock here. You say all hands on deck. O'Day pitched a third of an inning. Martin pitched 1 inning. You said it. These guys were able to not go deep into their bullpen because of Fried's outing. So they are ready to roll. And then we touch on the Dodgers' first righties, 259, 837 OPS during the regular season, and just not hitting them as hard in the postseason, 228, 709 OPS. But you can say the exact same thing about the Braves, 225, 692 OPS first righties, and they were slightly better than the Dodgers during the regular season. All right, let's go right to the most important part of tomorrow. And obviously I have a recency bias of what I saw from Gonsolin in game 2. He went 4 1/3, 3 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks. And I know that Kershaw and Urias are available, and I don't know how you don't use them both here. I really don't. Tell me whom you expect to be on the bump for the LA Dodgers tomorrow.
I mean, just like I mentioned for the other side for the Braves, even Snickers mentioned it. He said, "I expect all hands on deck," and that's for us and them, and that I'm referring to the Dodgers, and that's what I would expect. Everybody's available except Walker Buehler. On the other side, everyone's available except Max Fried, and that's what I expect out of both ball clubs. You talk about Dave Roberts. Wanted to go talk to Kershaw, see how many innings he could get out of him, and you look. Gratterall didn't get used yesterday or today, I mean, and you look Gonzalez as well wasn't used out of the bullpen. Those are two crucial guys that the Dodgers will need coming out of the bullpen. And Gonsolin ultimately what Robert says that he'll look at him to eat up some innings. So maybe a potential opener for Gratterall to come in and open the game, and then Gonsolin to come in and eat up some innings after that. I mean, you look at his numbers for Gonsolin, you look 10.38 ERA, 5 earned runs, but he only came on 3 hits. You know, they weren't hitting the ball very hard off of him. He got into trouble, and his walks is what really ultimately hurt him. You know, he gave a walk to Acuna, Freeman hits a bomb, 2 runs. And then later gets a couple walks, and then Baez comes in and wasn't able to shut it down. And Baez walk. And they were walking guys in, and then a hit, the runs come in. So I don't think his outing was as bad as it might indicate when you see the 5 earned runs. I don't think he was getting lit up like that. Gonsolin is a guy that I have a lot of faith in. He's got a lot of spin rate on his fastball, a lot of spin rate on his curveball. A guy that his advanced numbers look pretty good, and his overall numbers have been pretty good for the season. 2.31 ERA, 0.84 WHIP. But managing them to only see in the lineup just a couple of times. They don't let him see the lineup too many. And so that's what I would expect here. I'd expect him to eat up some innings. I'd expect to see him get 3 or 4. I expect him to see a good bulk, and I will trust him for that short span. The Dodgers deploying all hands on deck. The Dodgers are pretty deep. You know, even trying to be unbiased as possible. They are a solid bullpen, and they have a lot of pitching, a lot of young pitching. So you might see it all. Urias, May. Then you see a little veteran in Kershaw, and Jensen showing a little sign of life was very encouraging. He can get on runs to where he's lights out. He gets on runs where he gets hit, and then he's lights out. Kind of goes back and forth. So if he can get going, that bullpen becomes a little deeper and scarier.
It does. It does. Baez had a great outing in Game 6. I still don't fear Jansen. I mean, when he's throwing 91, 92-mile-an-hour cutters, he's just not going to be the lights-out closer that we remember. But he's gained confidence. I loved what he said in the interview after the game. I loved everything that Gonsolin's been saying. The perfect answers to questions. He seems very calm, comfortable, poised to produce here. Well, I'll tell you my angles. First off, just a couple stats in this situation. Entering 2020, so we're not including the Astros in this, 87 teams had fallen behind 3-1 in any best-of-7 postseason series. Only 17 of those, 20%, won the next 2 to force Game 7. Of those 17 teams, 13 went on to win Game 7. Now, I used that methodology backing the Astros in Game 7 of the ALCS, and that didn't work out for me. But you have to think the Dodgers have the momentum. If I see Gonsolin starting, I'm going to make two bets. I'm going to bet Braves first five at the plus money that I'll be offered, which I expect plus 110 at a minimum. And depending on the juice, I'm going to take Braves to score first. If Gonsolin isn't starting, if it's Gratterall, if it's Urias, or even if they decide to throw Kershaw out there for a couple innings, I will not take them to score first. I might do it with Gratterall. The pitchers I think are capable of stepping up for 2 or 3 innings here to start moving it along are Kershaw and Urias. And Kershaw coming in for 4 or 5 batters, I expect him to be very strong. We see Kershaw getting touched after they've seen him before in an at bat, and I think he can step up in the situation in a 2-inning short sample size. That's how I'm planning on attacking this game. I think the Braves hold the value early, and I need to know who's starting for the Dodgers. What is your plan of attack here in betting this game?
All right. When I see the line right now, I think the line would probably indicate that Gonsolin is starting, especially when you hear that Roberts is saying that he's going to eat up the bulk of the innings or try to eat up a bulk of the innings. And to me, it would depend who starts, but in my opinion, right now, the way I see that the Dodgers have been able to pitch against the Braves recently, and still the Dodgers are not really being that explosive. They blew up for the 3 runs early, but really didn't do much after that. That seems to be their mo, and so really, I don't see them continue to be able to produce a lot of hits back to back. I'm still going to be leaning on the first 5 under. That number's not out yet, but I mean, I expect Ian Anderson to continue his hot streak. Am I going to expect him to continue to be perfect? By no means can you continue to expect that, but he's done it. So I'm not going to stand in front of it. All numbers indicate that he is for real. On the other side, the Dodgers have pitched well against the Braves recently. You look back, going back to the last game. So you talk about 14 innings, 2 runs for the Braves. So the bats have gone a little bit quiet. So early in this game is a game 7. That was my angle for the last time, going with the Rays and the Astros. That game 7 gets a little bit tighter, and every pitch, every out means a little bit more, and the at bats get a little bit tenser, and the bats just don't really come out as hot typically, and that's what I would expect in this game. So I'll be looking to attack the first 5 under.
If I was lining, the first 5s aren't out. If I was lining it, if I had my own book, I would set it at 4. I would put it at minus 115 to the over, minus 105 to the under. If that was the line, would you bet under 4 at minus 105?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get. I'm hoping I can get some even money on that. I don't really expect this game to get to 4.5. If I do, I'll be all over it. But I'm hoping I can get some even money or 105 on that 4. That's the aim for that. So I'll be looking as soon as it drops to try to jump on that.
I want to attack Gonsolin. And his character is strong. And, you talk about his spin rate. He's got good stuff. But if it's Gonsolin or Ian Anderson right now, I like what I've seen from Ian Anderson. I just think he was a little too tentative. And I understand why he is against the dangerous Dodgers lineup. That's my plan. My plan will be, I see Gonsolin. I'm going to back Braves first 5 at plus money. And then I will back Braves to score first. Nolly knows you are going to be making a move, and I think you'll get that. I don't you think that the over 4 will be slightly juiced?
Yeah, I have to believe that. I mean, you look at the general perspective and you look back at some of these totals, they look pretty high, but a lot of those totals came later in the game. And yeah, I think so because these are the top 2 scoring teams in the major leagues, but I always say it and I always will. Good pitching beats good hitting, and both of these ball clubs have really good pitching. That's why they're here. These are 2 really good ball clubs. I mean, I'm not going to deny the talent that you have on both sides. Atlanta Braves are for real. There's no there's no really surprise that they're here. More surprised that the Dodgers are still alive, to be honest. And so this is gonna be a battle. I love these type of games, and yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be really fun. I hope that we see Kershaw on the mound in a very, very important situation. It's just, it's just fun. It's just fun. And regardless of him succeeding or struggling in that very pressure situation that I hope to find him in, his legacy is strong. And there's articles coming out, is Kershaw choke artist, all this stuff. And I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not a Braves guy. I'm not a Dodgers guy. But I do cheer for these athletes that we've spent our life, or such a big chunk of our life, focusing on and watching. And I hope Kershaw gets a chance tomorrow, and I hope he succeeds in that chance. I'm not saying I hope the Dodgers do. I just hope he looks good and can enjoy the offseason, because you can tell he's so passionate about succeeding for the Dodgers, and they've put so much faith and money in him over the years. And if I have to watch him walk off the mound again after struggling in the postseason, my heart will go out to him. And but I want to get paid, and I'm going to back the Braves early, and I'm going to attack Gonsolin if I can. Nolly knows. Any last words to these great guys and girls watching the show right now? Any last words heading into Game 7 of the NLCS?
I mean, I'll say with Gonsolin, not necessarily the guy that you expect to see on your Wheaties box, but not the best looking guy, but he can bring it, So watch out for Gonsolin, and I hope we get some angles for you guys, and hopefully some winners out there, or hopefully you get to just fade us and make some money, whatever it is. So good luck to everybody.
Yeah, good luck to everybody. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Also follow us on Odds 110 on Twitter. Game 7, NLCS pops off in 17 hours, 18 hours. Excitement at Globe Life. I was going to say Petco. Globe Life Field, Arlington. Beautiful night, 82 Fahrenheit. Man, I wish it was packed. I wish it was a Dodger Stadium and it was completely sold out, but at least we have baseball, exciting baseball at that. Thank you guys for watching. Have a very profitable Sunday, and we will see you for World Series games. So we will see you, I guess, in the next 48 hours, either talking Rays Dodgers or talking Rays Braves. Get paid in full.